The betrayal. The Galactic Council Hall floated in the void of space, massive and gleaming, a symbol of order and authority. Thousands of delegates from countless species sat in hovering chairs, their eyes sharp, their expressions confident. Every corner of the galaxy had sent representatives, certain that the humans were weak, divided, and easy to control. At the center, the council leader, a towering figure of scales and claws, spoke with a voice that resonated through the chamber. Humanity has no fleet worthy of attention. Their worlds fight each other endlessly. They lack coordination and their technology is behind ours. Nods and quiet murmurs of agreement filled the hall. Some delegates even laughed softly. To them this war would be nothing. A simple exercise in control. But not all were convinced. At the edge of the hall, a solitary figure sat draped in dark robes. His eyes were old, filled with memories of empires that had risen and fallen long before the council existed. He had warned the Council of Humans once before, and once again he tried to speak. Underestimating humans will be a grave mistake, he said softly. A young counselor from the crystalline species scoffed. Your warnings are irrelevant. Humans are loud, emotional, and chaotic. That is all they are. The old being's gaze did not waver. They are not what you think. Humanity is patient, adaptable, and capable of endurance beyond your understanding. Laughter filled the hall. Delegates turned away, dismissing the warning. Outside, hidden from the council's view, human observation ships drifted silently near the outer edges of council-controlled space. They had learned of the council's secret vote to seize human colonies, to strip away resources and sovereignty under the pretense of galactic law. The humans did not panic. They did not fire weapons. They did not send urgent messages pleading for intervention. Instead, every human ship recalibrated, analyzed, and prepared. In the command room of the flagship, screens displayed the positions of council fleets, their strengths and their weaknesses. A woman in simple, practical uniform stood at the center, reviewing the maps with calm intensity. We've been expected to fail, she said quietly. They think we're unorganized. They think we're weak. Let them believe it. Her second-in-command nodded. They don't know we've already been planning for decades. Every colony, every fleet, every communication, everything is mapped and ready. She looked at the stars beyond the viewport. They are about to awaken something they cannot understand. Back in the council hall, the vote was finalized. The council officially turned against humanity, authorizing strikes on key systems and resources. Delegates celebrated, confident that the humans would crumble before them. But the ancient being remained still, his eyes fixed on the stars. He whispered softly, more to himself than anyone else. You ignore them now and the galaxy will pay the price. And far away, humans began moving quietly, preparing the galaxy for a force beyond imagination. Silent, patient, and unstoppable. The first attack came without warning. From the edge of human-controlled space, the fleets of the Galactic Council moved like shadows across the stars. Massive warships, bristling with weapons, slipped out of hyperspace near a small human colony orbiting a yellow star. The Carthan Dominion led the assault, their ships dark and ominous, reflecting the cold light of distant suns. On the command deck of the flagship, the Carthan Admiral's claws tapped against the console. Begin the strike, he ordered, his voice carrying the certainty of victory. Show them the price of defiance. Energy beams cut through space, tearing apart satellites and communication relays. Explosions flared against the backdrop of the void. The human colony had no military fleet ready to defend itself. Only stations, cities, and civilians slowly rotating in orbit around the star. Inside the stations, alarms screamed. Red lights bathed the corridors. Doors sealed automatically. Families were moved to emergency shelters. People ran with purpose, not panic, following procedures drilled for decades. Evacuation transports lifted off in tight formations, shielding larger cargo ships carrying civilians. The Carthan commanders monitored every movement through their screens. One officer sneered. They are retreating. They flee before us. Victory is ours. But the humans were not running. Not in fear. Not in confusion. They were moving with precision. Every evacuation followed pre-planned routes. Every ship, every crew, every civilian followed exact instructions. They were learning as they went, but every action was calculated, purposeful, and flawless. From a hidden observation post, a young human officer tracked the alien attack. They've underestimated our coordination, he said calmly. They think chaos means weakness. The fleet AI responded in its neutral, unshaken tone. Their assumption is incorrect. Civilian evacuation is complete. Casualties minimal. The Carthan fleet continued their assault, destroying remaining structures. Cities were leveled, stations shattered, the planet itself scorched by orbital bombardment. After hours of relentless strikes, the Admiral looked at the report. It is finished. Humanity has lost this colony. Move on to the next target. Across the galaxy, news of the attack spread quickly. Council delegates and neighboring species spoke with smug satisfaction. Humans retreat after the first strike. Their defenses crumble immediately. They are weak, unworthy of consideration. Inside the Galactic Council Hall, laughter filled the room. The reptilian commander raised his claws in triumph. The warning was unnecessary, he said. They fled as expected. Humanity is weak and predictable. Only one presence remained silent, the ancient being. His eyes, filled with quiet understanding, scanned the reports. He saw what the council could not. Humans had not cried for help. They had not sent urgent messages. They had not begged for mercy. Instead, they were observing. Every attack vector, every beam signature, every move of the enemy fleet was recorded. Sensors captured more than the aliens knew existed. Human scientists, strategists, and AI systems worked silently to gather intelligence. Far from the battle, on a hidden station, the human fleet's command center glowed with light. Screens showed the destroyed colony in real time. Officers examined the alien fleet's formation, energy use, and coordination patterns. They overextend their flanks, one analyst said. Fuel consumption exceeds optimal by 15%. Communication latency increases in this formation. The commander nodded. Let them assume victory. Let them feel secure. That confidence will be their undoing. Meanwhile, alien forces moved deeper into human territory. The Carthan Dominion believed they had won without resistance, spreading their fleet thin across multiple systems. They failed to notice subtle disruptions. Satellites slightly off course, data relays delivering messages late, supply convoys rerouted without alert. Each minor glitch added up, unnoticed, to create inefficiency in their ranks. In council meetings, updates continued. Advance proceeding as expected. Humans offer no resistance. Delegates nodded, reassured. Confidence blinded them to the truth. Back in human space, simulations were already underway. AI systems processed thousands of scenarios. Humans plotted how small disruptions could ripple through the enemy fleet, weakening supply lines, delaying reinforcements, and isolating groups without firing a single shot. This is Phase 1, the commander said quietly. They believe they've won. Now we teach them the cost of underestimating us. The ancient being, observing the same data streams, whispered softly to himself, the galaxy will learn too late the difference between fleeing and preparing. As the Carthan fleets advanced, their triumph turned into overconfidence. They did not see the signals subtly altered by humans. They did not notice the probes drifting silently in empty space. They did not question the strange delays in their communications. Every misstep was minor individually. Together they created a perfect trap. The humans did not strike openly. They did not need to. They had already begun winning in ways the galaxy could not yet comprehend. Across the stars, fleets that had once seemed unstoppable drifted into inefficiency. Supply lines stretched thin. Command chains became confused. Confidence, their greatest weapon, was replaced with subtle doubt. And through it all, humans remained calm. No shouting. No anger. Only patience, observation, and preparation. Far from the council hall, the ancient being closed his eyes. Now, he said, the first lesson begins. The lesson was simple. Underestimate humanity and the price will be higher than anyone can imagine. And even as alien fleets celebrated, human commanders already planned the next phase, silent, patient, and unstoppable. The galaxy believed it understood war. They measured fleets by size, weapons by destructive power, leaders by courage and authority. Victory was thought to belong to the loudest, the strongest, the fastest. They were wrong. On the outer rim of human space, fleets drifted silently. Not in fear. Not in confusion. Humans had chosen a different path. From hidden command stations and quiet orbital platforms, humans observed every movement of the Carthan Dominion. Every fleet that had attacked the colonies, every ship that had celebrated its victory, was now being analyzed with extreme precision. Every beam fired, every route taken, every minor adjustment in formation was logged, studied, and understood. The woman in command stood at the center of a large holographic table. Star systems, fleet positions and energy consumption streams glowed in blue light. She did not shout. She did not gesture wildly. Her voice, calm and controlled, guided the team. Energy use is uneven, she said. Their forward fleet consumes more fuel than the rear. Supply lines are stretched thin. Communications are delayed by 12.3% in 3 systems. Her second-in-command, a man with quick eyes and a calm demeanor, leaned forward. If we disrupt their nodes slightly, even for minutes, the entire coordination will falter. They won't know why. The woman nodded. Exactly. We don't attack directly. We let time, logistics, and overconfidence do it for us. Humans do not win by firepower alone. We win by persistence. Silently, across hundreds of stations, humans prepared tools the galaxy would never see as weapons. Drones moved through empty space invisible to sensors. Satellites altered their positions imperceptibly. Long-range communications were intercepted, delayed, or delivered slightly off schedule. Each adjustment was minor, but when combined across light years of space, it became devastating. The Carthan fleets moved confidently. They had assumed humanity's retreat meant surrender. Their commanders issued orders with certainty. Advance. Secure every system. There is no resistance left to fear. And yet, strange things began to occur. Supply convoys never arrived on time. Fleets reported minor malfunctions. Communications faltered just enough to cause confusion. Commanders dismissed it as coincidence. Human error, they said. Or faulty equipment. Nothing to worry about. No one noticed that humans were not creating errors. They were orchestrating them. Every misstep, every delay, every confusion was deliberate. Humans had learned to fight the galaxy in a way no one expected, without firing a single shot. In the command room, the woman observed the maps. They believe they control everything. They do not see our fleets. They do not see the subtle forces we move. They think they understand the battlefield, but they cannot. A young analyst, barely 20, pointed to a projection. If we push this pattern another 3 hours, their supply lines will fail in 5 key systems. Communication delays will reach critical points and morale will drop. The woman smiled faintly. Then we wait. Let them exhaust themselves. Humans never strike until the moment is right. When the enemy is weak, unprepared, and overconfident, only then do we act. Across multiple systems, human AI coordinated the movement of ships, supplies, and satellites. Every calculation was precise. Every choice was deliberate. Humans had learned that intelligence and patience could be more lethal than firepower. Meanwhile, the Carthan Dominion assumed they were in total control. Commanders held meetings across holographic channels. Human resistance is non-existent, one officer said confidently. They flee, they hide, they surrender. There is no threat. And yet, fleets continued to suffer. Ships were delayed. Supplies vanished. Minor failures multiplied. Morale slipped. No one understood why. They had not encountered humans, they had only believed in the myth of weakness. Back at the human command, a small voice echoed from an AI interface. Enemy cohesion projected to decrease by 22% over the next cycle. The woman nodded. Let it continue. Every cycle brings them closer to collapse without us needing to fire a shot. Across human systems, civilians remained protected. Evacuation protocols continued, not out of fear but as part of the strategy. Humans had learned from their own history. Unnecessary loss weakens the soul, weakens morale, weakens civilization. Every life preserved was a measure of strength. The ancient being, watching remotely from a hidden observation post near the council hall, whispered, "They think patience is weakness. They are wrong. Humans never reveal the full measure of their power until it is unavoidable." Even as fleets faltered, the galaxy outside human space remained oblivious. Reports from alien systems arrived slowly, filled with confusion. We cannot explain the delays. Fleets are reporting anomalies we cannot account for. Human resistance is non-existent. The galaxy misread the situation entirely. They assumed humans were passive, retreating, and helpless. They did not see the strategy hidden beneath calmness. They did not see the web being woven across light years of space. On a quiet human station orbiting a distant star, the woman finally spoke to her officers. The galaxy believes it controls us. It does not. Humanity never fights like the others. We wait. We study. We endure. And when the moment comes, we strike in a way they cannot imagine. Every officer understood. Every AI calculated. Every fleet prepared. Humans had not yet revealed their strength, but the stage was set. Across the stars, fleets drifted blindly, unaware that their overconfidence would soon be their undoing. Supplies ran low. Communication faltered. Morale broke quietly. Without a single battle, without a single shot, humans had begun winning. The ancient being watched, quietly satisfied. "The galaxy will learn too late," he said softly. "Patience, observation, and endurance, this is how humans fight. Not like any species before. And not like any species again." The council continued its debates, believing victory was already theirs. They did not know that the humans they had betrayed were already orchestrating the downfall of their fleets. And in the quiet of human space, one thought resonated through every command center. When the galaxy underestimates humanity, it does so at its own peril. Humans were not fighting recklessly. They were not seeking glory. They were ensuring survival. And when they finally acted openly, it would not be a battle. It would be the awakening of a force beyond imagination. The galaxy had grown comfortable. The Carthan fleets moved confidently through human space, convinced that humanity was retreating, weak and easy to crush. Every command, every maneuver, every fleet placement had been executed under that false assumption. What the Council did not realize, and what no species could yet perceive, was that humans had already begun their invisible counterattack. From hidden orbital stations, cloaked ships, and distant satellites, humans worked silently. Drones drifted through space like ghosts, invisible to sensors. Communications relays subtly rerouted messages, causing delays that no one could trace. Small disruptions in supply chains went unnoticed at first, but they were calculated to grow exponentially. In the command room of the flagship, the woman in charge observed the galaxy like a chessboard. Holographic displays showed fleet positions, projected fuel consumption, and communication latency. Every data point was a thread, every thread part of a larger web. "Forward fleet overextends again," she said quietly. "Adjusting intercept points." Her team moved with precision. Small drones were deployed to interfere with alien navigation systems. Supply convoys were delayed just enough to create gaps in their logistics. Minor system malfunctions were triggered remotely, subtle, silent, and untraceable. Across the galaxy, alien commanders noticed strange anomalies. Fleets that should have reported in were silent. Supply ships never arrived on schedule. Communications appeared scrambled or delayed. Officers grew frustrated and confused, unable to explain the irregularities. "What is happening?" one Carthan commander barked. "Our plans are flawless. Why are they failing?" The answer was simple: humans were not fighting the way the galaxy expected. They were not attacking openly. They were dismantling the enemy's ability to fight without engaging in direct combat. From a hidden observation post, the ancient being watched the patterns unfold. "The galaxy measures power by fire and noise," he whispered. "Humans measure power by control, patience, and endurance. They do not fight to be seen, they fight to be unassailable." Meanwhile, human fleets moved silently between systems. They struck only when necessary, targeting isolated supply convoys or communication hubs. Every intervention was minimal, precise, and almost undetectable. To the galaxy, it seemed as if the Council's own mistakes were unraveling their plans. On one distant human station, a young officer pointed at the holographic display. "If we continue to manipulate these nodes, the Dominion's fleets will lose coordination within 6 cycles. Their overconfidence will be their undoing." The woman in command nodded. "Good. Prepare phase 2. Wait until their morale drops further before any overt engagement. Humans do not strike too early. We wait until the enemy collapses under their own arrogance." Alien fleets continued to move, unaware that every step forward was guided by human hands. Supply lines faltered. Minor navigational errors accumulated into significant delays. Command chains became confused, with fleets in multiple systems misinterpreting orders or duplicating efforts. Inside the Galactic Council Hall, delegates grew uneasy. Reports of fleet inefficiency and communication errors arrived slowly. Some attempted to dismiss it as technical faults. Others, quietly, began to whisper about humans' unexpected coordination. The council leader banged his claw on the table. "These anomalies are temporary. Our fleets are unstoppable. Humanity is finished." But even he could not ignore the growing evidence. Patterns repeated. Errors were too consistent to be coincidences. The humans were not reacting, they were orchestrating. On Earth or in human-controlled space stations, scientists, officers, and AI worked together. They simulated every possible outcome, predicted enemy reactions, and ensured that each disruption had maximum impact. Humans did not need to destroy fleets to defeat them. They merely needed to make them unable to function. In the midst of the chaos, civilians in human space remained safe. Evacuations continued smoothly. Supply lines for human colonies remained intact. Humans had learned from their own history that survival was not about aggression. It was about endurance, strategy, and protecting life. Alien officers struggled to understand what was happening. Ships that had advanced into human systems suddenly reported missing fuel. Communications failed. Supply convoys vanished. The Dominion's own strategies began to crumble under invisible pressure. "Why are our fleets failing without engagement?" one officer demanded. "What are the humans doing?" There was no answer. Humans were not visible. Their ships remained hidden. Their interventions were precise, subtle, and silent. They had become a ghostly presence, a force moving through the galaxy unnoticed, yet shaping it entirely. The ancient being's voice was soft, almost reverent. Patience is their weapon. Observation is their tool. Endurance is their shield. Humans do not fight to be seen. They fight to survive, and in surviving they dominate. By the time the Dominion realized their mistake, it was too late. Fleets that had once moved with certainty were now disjointed. Communication chains broke down. Supplies failed to arrive. Isolated skirmishes occurred not because humans attacked openly, but because the Dominion's overconfidence and mismanagement collided with subtle human interference. Across the galaxy, whispers began. "Have you noticed how humans anticipate our moves? Why are our fleets failing without being engaged? They are not weak, they are different." The Council, still blinded by arrogance, dismissed the whispers as paranoia. Yet a shadow of doubt had entered their minds. And humans continued to move silently, waiting for the moment when patience would turn into decisive action. In the final moments of this invisible counterattack, the woman in command addressed her officers. "The galaxy underestimates us. That is our advantage. Continue to watch, continue to disrupt, but do not reveal everything. Let them believe they are winning. Let fear grow slowly. The moment will come, and when it does, the consequences will be beyond imagination." From the shadows, the ancient being observed quietly. "Finally," he whispered, "the lesson is unfolding. The galaxy will pay attention, but only after the humans choose to show themselves." The stars remained quiet. The fleets continued moving. Supply lines faltered. Communications broke. And humans waited, patient, hidden, unstoppable. The first strike was not a battle. It was the beginning of an invisible war, a counterattack that no one could see, yet no one could escape. And the galaxy would soon realize that humans fought not for glory, not for conquest, but for survival. And when survival is orchestrated with patience and precision, it becomes a force beyond imagination. The galaxy began to tremble, not from explosions, not from fire, but from something far more terrifying: humans' quiet, unstoppable control. Alien fleets, once confident in their strength, now faltered. Supply convoys were delayed. Communications broke down. Isolated fleets could no longer coordinate with each other. The Carthan Dominion, the most feared military power in the galaxy, watched helplessly as their confidence crumbled without even facing an open attack. On the bridge of a Carthan flagship, the admiral slammed his claws against the console in frustration. "This is impossible," he roared. "Our fleets are intact. Our weapons are ready. And yet, our command chain collapses." A young officer stammered. "Sir, the humans, they are not fighting. At least, not openly. But, we are losing anyway." "Losing?" the admiral spat. "We control this sector. How are we losing?" But he already knew the answer. Every fleet that advanced reported delays. Supplies never reached the front lines. Small, invisible disruptions, satellites shifting, communication lines subtly blocked, navigational errors, added up. The Dominion's confidence evaporated, replaced by confusion, fear, and a creeping sense of helplessness. Across multiple star systems, alien fleets began to make mistakes. Ships collided during maneuvers. Commands were misunderstood. Isolated fleets, left without reinforcements, retreated in panic. Rumors of ghost attacks spread among the Carthan officers. Small strikes that could not be traced, minor incidents that caused massive disruption, and mysterious reports of human ships appearing where no one expected them. The Galactic Council met urgently. Holographic screens displayed the growing chaos. Delegates from various species argued, shouted, and blamed each other. "They are everywhere," one delegate hissed. "Our fleets cannot hold positions. Supplies fail. We cannot communicate. The council leader banged a claw on the table. These are exaggerations. Humanity is weak. They flee. We have destroyed their colonies. A counselor shook his head. No. Something is wrong. Their fleets are not visible, yet we cannot control the battlefield. Our systems fail at critical points. Every move we make is anticipated, or disrupted. They are not retreating. They are preparing. Even as panic spread, the humans remained calm. On countless hidden stations, fleets, and command posts, officers coordinated quietly. Every action reinforced the others, every disruption amplified across light years. Humans were orchestrating chaos without firing a single weapon. From an observation post near the council hall, the ancient being watched silently. His eyes reflected the panic across the galaxy. They call it fear, he whispered. But it is understanding. Humanity is not loud. Humanity is patient. Humanity endures. And that endurance terrifies the galaxy when it finally strikes. In one captured system, the Carthan fleet commander stared at a screen in disbelief. Reports show that 2 of our supply fleets vanished without a trace. How is this possible? Perhaps they fled? One officer suggested. The commander shook his head. No. This is no retreat. This is strategy. And we cannot see it. We cannot fight what we cannot understand. Across multiple systems, other species faced the same phenomenon. Fleets that had once mocked humanity now wondered how they were being dismantled without battle. Minor navigational errors, unseen blockages, and precise timing led to widespread failures. Entire systems surrendered silently, not because humans destroyed them, but because the Dominion had already weakened itself through overextension, confusion, and fear. The Council attempted to regain control. Orders were shouted, reinforcements dispatched, threats issued. Yet humans anticipated every step. Supply lines were rerouted. Communications subtly altered. Minor disruptions amplified. The Dominion's arrogance was turning into its greatest weakness. Inside human command centers, officers observed the galaxy's reactions with calm satisfaction. They did not celebrate. They did not shout. Humans were patient. They understood that victory would come not from anger, but from strategy, endurance, and control. We do not need to attack yet, the commander said quietly. We let them crumble on their own. Every mistake they make costs them more than any weapon could. Every delay, every miscalculation, they fall into the trap we set long ago. An AI system projected fleet movements. The Dominion's morale is projected to drop by 37% within the next 2 cycles. Communication errors will exceed operational thresholds in 5 systems. Strategic collapse is inevitable. The woman in command nodded. Good. Let them feel safe. Let them believe they are winning. Let them believe humanity is weak. That is the greatest weapon we have, the illusion of weakness. In the outer systems, alien soldiers whispered among themselves. The humans, they do not fight. And yet, we cannot advance. Our fleets fail. Our supplies vanish. Our commands are ignored. Panic spread quietly like a virus. Entire fleets stopped, unsure of what to do next. Commands conflicted. Ships drifted without orders. Systems that were once proud of their efficiency now faced quiet collapse. Back in the Galactic Council Hall, the delegates began to argue amongst themselves. Some suggested negotiating. Others demanded more attacks. Some admitted in whispers that humans were not what they seemed. You thought this was a simple conquest, the ancient being said softly, but humans do not fight like the others. They fight to endure, to survive, and to control without chaos. Their patience becomes their weapon. And the galaxy is learning the lesson too late. In human-controlled space, fleets moved quietly to reinforce weakened positions, support isolated colonies, and prepare for the moment when direct action would be necessary. But for now, restraint ruled. Humans would not strike recklessly. They would wait until the enemy was already broken, ensuring the final victory was absolute and precise. Across the galaxy, fear became the silent currency of war. Alien fleets, once proud and confident, now hesitated before every maneuver. Commanders doubted their own decisions. Supply lines faltered. Communication channels became unreliable. Entire systems surrendered without a fight, not from destruction, but from the realization that humans were not to be underestimated. And through it all, humans remained calm, unseen, and patient. They did not gloat. They did not strike openly. They were invisible, yet their influence stretched across light years, quietly dismantling empires. The ancient being watched and whispered again, The galaxy fears what it does not understand. They believe victory is measured by weapons and numbers. Humans measure it by endurance, strategy, and the ability to survive. And when they finally act openly, the price will be unimaginable. The stars themselves seemed to shift as fleets faltered, as systems surrendered, and as the Carthan Dominion realized too late that they had underestimated the patient, intelligent, and unstoppable force called humanity. The galaxy had begun to realize something it had never expected. Humans were not like any other species. Across the stars, alien fleets faltered, commanders panicked, and entire systems hesitated. Yet humans moved calmly, silently, and deliberately. Their strategy was not based on aggression, power, or violence alone. It was based on endurance, patience, and understanding the value of every life, every system, and every resource. On a distant human station, orbiting a quiet blue star, the woman in command studied the galaxy's response to the invisible counterattacks. Every fleet failure, every delayed communication, every supply shortage was logged, analyzed, and used to adjust strategy. Humans did not act recklessly, they acted with precision. "This is not war as the galaxy knows it," she said to her officers. "We are not trying to destroy them outright. We are shaping the battlefield, guiding their mistakes, and letting overconfidence destroy itself. Humanity survives by understanding the cost of every decision." Her second-in-command nodded. "Our history has taught us this. Every empire that attacked Earth assumed quick victory. Every invasion failed because humans endure. We learn. We adapt. We survive. And we strike when the moment is unavoidable." It was true. Across centuries of conflict on Earth, humanity had faced disasters, invasions, plagues, and wars that should have ended them. Yet they had survived, adapted, and grown stronger. That history, encoded in their culture, their instinct, and their strategy, was now being projected across the galaxy. In secret observation posts, humans studied alien species, their strategies, and their weaknesses. They learned not only the mechanics of war but the psychology of their enemies. Every flaw, every miscalculation, every arrogance of alien empires was noted and used to human advantage. The ancient being, watching quietly from a hidden corner near the council hall, spoke softly. "The galaxy still measures strength by loudness and firepower. But humanity measures strength by survival. They endure where others fail and they strike when the moment is decisive. Patience is their weapon and endurance is their shield." In multiple human colonies, simulations were conducted to project every possible scenario. AI systems calculated thousands of outcomes simultaneously. Ships were repositioned silently, supply lines rerouted, and fleets coordinated without a single exposure. The human strategy was invisible to the galaxy, yet devastating in its precision. Meanwhile, the Carthan Dominion and allied species grew desperate. They had assumed humans would either flee or fight recklessly. Neither happened. Instead, humans continued to protect civilians, maintain their colonies, and dismantle enemy coordination silently. Fleets that should have been invincible now suffered from mismanagement, delays, and internal confusion. One alien commander finally admitted in private, "They are not attacking. And yet, we are falling apart. How is this possible?" The answer was simple: humans never stopped. Their strength was not measured by a single fleet or weapon, but by their ability to endure, adapt, and survive against impossible odds. Every human ship, every officer, every civilian contributed to a strategy that the galaxy could not see. On a quiet command station, the woman observed fleet projections. "They believe they can outmaneuver us because we are small, dispersed, and patient," she said. "They do not see that patience is our greatest weapon. Every mistake they make strengthens our position. Every overextension, every misjudgment, every miscommunication, they are building their own collapse." Her officers nodded silently. They understood that humans fought not for glory or conquest, but for survival. Every human life was precious. Every colony preserved was a measure of strength. And the galaxy would learn too late that endurance is more terrifying than the most destructive weapon. In the council hall, reports arrived with increasing frequency. Alien fleets were breaking apart. Supplies failed. Communications were lost. Panic spread. Delegates began to whisper in fear, questioning the competence of their own command. "What are humans doing?" one asked. "We have attacked them. We have assumed control. And yet, we are losing without a single open battle." The ancient being's eyes glowed faintly in the dim light. "This is why humans never stop," he said softly. "They survive where others fail and they wait until the cost is unavoidable. The galaxy misunderstands them. They are patient, intelligent, and relentless. And when humans finally strike openly, the result will be catastrophic for anyone who doubted them. Back in human space, a young analyst projected the next cycle of fleet movements. If we maintain disruption for another 2 cycles, their command efficiency will drop below 10%. Morale will collapse. Supply lines will fail completely. The woman nodded. Good. Let them continue to underestimate us. The moment we reveal our full strength, they will have no time to respond. The galaxy will see what patience and endurance can achieve. Across the stars, alien fleets continued to falter. Small, invisible interventions caused disproportionate chaos. Systems that had once stood confidently under Council control now operated in confusion. Communications failed, supply lines broke, and morale collapsed quietly. And yet, humans did not celebrate. They did not move recklessly. They were patient. They endured. They studied. And when the moment was right, the galaxy would understand the true meaning of human power, not firepower, not numbers, but intelligence, patience, and the unyielding will to survive. The ancient being smiled faintly. They fight differently than anyone else, he whispered. They endure differently. They strike differently. And the galaxy will pay the price of underestimating them. In that moment, across light years of space, the invisible counterattack continued. Humans remained unseen, yet they were everywhere, shaping the battlefield, guiding the enemy into errors, and preparing the galaxy for the force that would soon awaken, patient, relentless, and unstoppable. The stars were quiet, but the message was clear. Humans never stop. They endure. They survive. And when the galaxy realizes their power, it will be too late to turn back. The galaxy did not yet understand what it was up against. Alien fleets had assumed humans would fight like everyone else, loudly, recklessly, openly, but humans were different. Far from the front lines, on a hidden station orbiting a quiet planet, humans worked tirelessly. Scientists monitored the slightest change in energy readings from alien fleets. Officers calculated every supply delay, every communication glitch, and every misstep the Council had unknowingly created for themselves. The humans were silent, but their influence spread across light years like an invisible tide, pushing the galaxy toward collapse. We measure power differently, the woman in command explained to her officers. Humans do not win by striking first or firing the most weapons. We win by patience, endurance, and understanding the consequences of every action. Her second-in-command leaned over a glowing map. Their fleets are fracturing already. Communications fail. Morale drops. Supply lines falter. They do not know it, but every minor disruption you initiated weeks ago is now a chain reaction. It is unstoppable. Exactly, she replied. They are blind to the fact that they are already losing. And that is the beauty of our strategy. We fight not by force but by controlling the battlefield invisibly. When we finally act openly, they will not know what hit them. The ancient being, watching from a distant observation post, whispered to himself, "The galaxy will never understand humans until it is too late. They endure where others would crumble. They wait where others would act rashly. And they strike only when survival demands it." In the command center, young analysts ran simulation after simulation. Every hypothetical scenario, every possible movement by alien fleets, was studied and prepared for. Human ships adjusted positions, altered energy signatures, and created phantom signals to mislead enemy sensors. What looked like chaos to the aliens was perfect control for the humans. Phase 3 is ready, the officer said. Every disruption is amplified. Their fleets are destabilized. The Council believes victory is theirs, yet their empire is crumbling from within. The woman nodded. Good. We do not celebrate. We do not reveal our power. Patience is our weapon. Endurance is our shield. And when the moment comes, the galaxy will finally witness humans at their full strength. Even as humans moved silently across the galaxy, alien species began whispering in fear. Why do our fleets fail without attack? How can they be so organized yet invisible? They are not retreating, they are planning. And we cannot see it. Reports of strange incidents multiplied. Supply convoys disappeared. Fleets lost synchronization. Minor errors became major setbacks. Officers argued over what could possibly be causing it. The Carthan Dominion, proud and ruthless, began doubting their own decisions for the first time. The Council leader, confident a week before, now slammed his claws against the table in frustration. We control the galaxy. Humanity is weak. And yet, everything falters. In the silence of human command centers, the woman observed the chaos. They do not understand. Humans never fight recklessly. They survive, adapt, and endure. And when the moment is right, we strike decisively. Not for glory, not for conquest, but for survival, and the galaxy will pay for every underestimation. Across light years of space, the invisible war continued. Humans disrupted, diverted, and controlled, all without engaging in open combat. Every fleet, every supply line, every command chain the Council relied on was subtly undermined. In one simulation, an AI reported, "The Dominion's morale is projected to collapse within 4 cycles if current disruptions continue. Command efficiency will drop below 15%. Strategic failure is inevitable." The woman's face remained calm. "Perfect. Let them continue to underestimate us. Let fear grow slowly. When we finally strike, the galaxy will see why humans never stop, and why survival is a power unmatched by any weapon or fleet." The ancient being smiled faintly. "They are not like any species before," he whispered. "They endure. They wait. They plan. And the galaxy will only learn the meaning of human strength when it is far too late to resist." In the shadows of human space, officers and AI continued their work. The invisible counterattack was not complete. It had only begun. The galaxy, confident in its control, remained unaware that it was already under humanity's influence. Every action, no matter how small, reinforced the humans' advantage. Every delay, every miscommunication, every subtle disruption weakened the Council's fleets. And every day that passed without an open battle strengthened humans' position further. The stars remained quiet, the fleets continued their blind movements, and humans waited. Patient, relentless, and unstoppable. The galaxy had made a mistake it would never recover from. The galaxy still did not understand what was happening. Alien fleets drifted through space, confused, overextended, and weary. Communications faltered. Supply lines failed. Systems once held firmly under the Council's control now operated independently, uncertain, and fearful. Humans had been patient. They had waited silently, observing every move, calculating every outcome, and disrupting the enemy's plans without firing a single shot. Now, the moment for decisive action had arrived. On the bridge of the human flagship, the woman in command surveyed the galaxy through the main viewport. Stars twinkled silently, yet each point of light represented systems under pressure, fleets in disarray, and colonies untouched but strategically important. Her officers worked in calm synchronization, inputting final orders, aligning coordinates, and preparing the fleets for open engagement. "Phase 4 begins now," she said, her voice calm but resolute. Across multiple human-controlled stations and fleets, the invisible counterattack shifted into overt action. Ships uncloaked, sensors activated fully, and coordinated strikes began. But these strikes were not reckless. They were precise, surgical, and devastatingly efficient. The first target was a Carthan supply convoy stranded far from reinforcement fleets. A squadron of human ships struck simultaneously from multiple vectors, disabling engines and weapon systems with pinpoint accuracy. Within minutes, the convoy surrendered, not because of overwhelming firepower, but because the humans had cut off all possible escape, blocked communications, and isolated the ships completely. "Signal the other sectors," the woman commanded. "This is only the beginning. Let them see what patience and precision achieve." Elsewhere, entire fleets that had once been proud and confident were falling into disarray. Their overconfidence had led them into traps carefully laid over weeks of observation and disruption. Ships collided during maneuvers, commanders miscommunicated orders, and isolated squads found themselves surrounded by forces they could not perceive until it was too late. The Carthan admiral, who had been so confident just days before, now roared in frustration. "What is happening? Our fleets are breaking apart. Our supply lines are destroyed. How is this possible?" A junior officer trembled. "Sir, they are everywhere. And yet, we cannot see them." The admiral's claws struck the console repeatedly, sparks flying. "Impossible. Humanity is weak. They should have fallen long ago." But humanity had never been weak. They had simply waited, endured, and prepared. Every fleet failure, every disrupted supply chain, every miscommunication was a calculated consequence of human strategy. They had not revealed their strength until the moment was unavoidable, and that moment had come. From orbiting stations to hidden fleets in the outer rim, humans struck with precision. Enemy ships surrendered without a fight once they realized they were trapped, isolated, or unable to coordinate. Entire fleets fell silent, their commanders powerless to respond. In the Galactic Council Hall, panic spread like wildfire. Delegates shouted over each other, blamed one another, and demanded immediate action. Send reinforcements. Strike back. Humanity cannot be this strong. The council leader, pale even through his scaled skin, banged his claws on the table. They were only humans. They were supposed to flee. How can this be happening? Reports continued arriving. Entire colonies that had been targeted for attack weeks ago now stood intact, fully operational, and reinforced by human fleets. Alien fleets that had once boasted invincibility had surrendered or were immobilized. The Council's authority was unraveling, and there was nothing they could do. The ancient being, observing the chaos from his hidden post, whispered softly, almost in awe. They believed in strength measured by firepower. They assumed victory came from numbers. Humanity has shown the galaxy a different kind of strength: endurance, strategy, and precision. And the cost of underestimating it is catastrophic. In one decisive operation, human forces surrounded the Council's flagship. It had assumed safety in the center of a fleet, protected by dozens of escort ships and energy shields. But humans had already calculated every movement, anticipated every tactic, and manipulated communications to create isolation. With surgical precision, humans disabled shields, blocked escape routes, and sent small boarding parties into the vessel. The Council delegates found themselves powerless as human forces infiltrated and immobilized the command center. Orders were ignored, fleets fell into confusion, and the illusion of control evaporated in moments. Across the galaxy, similar scenes unfolded. Fleets that had mocked humans only days ago now surrendered, trapped by invisible manipulations that became overt action. Systems once thought secure were pacified without destruction, demonstrating the human philosophy: survival, strategy, and precision over unnecessary violence. The woman in command stood quietly as reports flooded in. The galaxy believed they could crush humanity with arrogance and strength, she said softly. They did not see that patience, endurance, and strategy are more powerful than fleets or weapons. They learned this lesson too late. Even as alien fleets surrendered or were neutralized, humans continued to maintain order in their controlled systems. They repaired supply lines, secured colonies, and ensured the safety of civilians, showing restraint even while striking decisively. In the Council Hall, fear and disbelief spread among delegates. The Galactic Council, once proud and untouchable, now faced humiliation, loss of authority, and the collapse of their fleets. Panic replaced confidence. Confusion replaced strategy. And the lesson was written clearly across the galaxy: humanity is not to be underestimated. The ancient being, smiling faintly, murmured, "The final price has been paid. Not in fire or blood but in understanding. Humanity endures where others fail, waits when others rush, and strikes when survival demands it. And the galaxy has learned that cost firsthand." From the human command stations, fleets, and colonies, the message was clear: humans do not fight recklessly. They do not seek glory. They endure, they adapt, and they strike only when necessary. And when they strike, the result is absolute, efficient, and undeniable. The stars were quiet again, but the galaxy had changed forever. The Carthan Dominion and the Council's allies had learned a painful truth: underestimating humanity is a fatal mistake. The final price of arrogance had been paid in fear, surrender, and irreversible loss of control. And humanity, patient, precise, and relentless, had emerged victorious, not through destruction alone, but through strategy, intelligence, and the unyielding will to survive. The galaxy would never forget the day humans revealed their true power. The galaxy had never been quieter, yet it had never been more aware. Across light years of space, fleets that once boasted superiority now drifted helplessly. Systems that had laughed at humanity's weakness now operated in confusion or lay silent under the control of precise, patient, and unstoppable human forces. From the human command stations, the woman in charge observed the galaxy's transformation. Holographic maps displayed fleets that had surrendered, colonies secured, and enemy command chains fractured beyond repair. But she did not celebrate. There was no gloating, no triumphal fanfare. Humanity's victory was quiet, deliberate, and complete. Every system we've saved, every fleet we've neutralized, was done with precision, not destruction, she said to her officers. This is what makes us different. We do not conquer for glory. We endure. We strategize. And when the moment is unavoidable, we act, and the galaxy must learn to respect that. In once proud alien systems, officers whispered in disbelief. They did not attack recklessly, yet they are everywhere. How could a species so small be so precise, so patient? We misjudged them, catastrophically. Even the Galactic Council, whose arrogance had sparked this war, now faced humiliation. Delegates struggled to restore authority, but the truth was undeniable. Humans had shown that survival, intelligence and patience could triumph over sheer numbers and firepower. The ancient being, observing silently, smiled. The galaxy will remember this. They underestimated humans, believing victory could be won through arrogance and power. They learned too late that endurance and strategy are stronger than any weapon, faster than any fleet, and more dangerous than any army. Across human colonies, life continued. Civilians returned to their homes, unaware of the subtle manipulations and careful strategies that had saved them. Fleets remained ready but not idle. They waited as always, observing the galaxy, ensuring that no power could rise without consequence. Even as humans consolidated control, the lesson spread quietly among alien species. Underestimating humans carries consequences far beyond what anyone can imagine. Every overconfident fleet commander, every arrogant counselor, every species that thought survival could be achieved through force alone now understood the cost of misjudgment. The woman looked at the stars, her eyes reflecting both calm and determination. The galaxy will speak of this day for generations, she said. Not because of firepower or fleets but because humanity survived. Humanity endured. And humanity acted when it was necessary. A young officer asked quietly, "Will they ever trust us?" She shook her head. "They may never trust us. They may fear us. But that is not our concern. Our concern is survival and ensuring that the galaxy knows, humans are never to be underestimated." From beyond the galaxy, across distant systems, whispers spread. The humans who seemed small, fragile and chaotic had revealed a force beyond imagination. Patience, strategy and intelligence had become their weapons. The galaxy had learned the hardest lesson of all. A species that waits, observes and acts with precision cannot be defeated by mere arrogance or numbers. The stars were calm once more, yet attention lingered. Humanity had awakened not with rage or vengeance, but with endurance and strategy that reshaped the galaxy. And the question remained: who will be foolish enough to underestimate humans next? Comment your ideas below.